We don't just record history. We release knowledge. This is BLC Archives, and I'm here doing some research, one-man research, or one-man podcast, as always, and that I am here looking at an area, because you will see me disappear from out of the view of the camera, but I'm behind the camera. And as you can see here, I'm in an area where this was once, this is the sea, the water, this is our university waters. And as you can see, they come here and they are doing the government is doing putting up seawalls. Now, from my experience doing this land research and doing archives and doing podcasts here, now this as you can see here, they have all this here is seawalls that they place up. They're doing infrastructure work, so that they're stopping the sea from coming up. Now, normally, all these stones here, when this was just the real seashore here, with the rocks and everything being along this coastal area, this goes straight through. Then they had a road that run through here, like how the sea walls are here. There was a road that run, and the road is still there. But normally, before the roads was here, this was all in the backdrop where you see the castor trees are growing. There would all of that would have been the rich. And now what happens is, this is what governments do not understand and the engineers do not understand about land building. They got their engineers, they got their blueprint, they do what they need to do. They put up seawalls so that they're trying to protect the environment from coastal erosion. Now, of course, coastal erosion, when you look here at the left over the debris that came up here, all of the stones and the rocks that came up here, what happens is that normally what it would have been a lot of sand here. Now, like how the government also has their sand that they would normally build these walls, these sea walls with. Now, what happens is, as I said, they're the engineers, and they said that they put them up. But what happens is, the builders, and you always hear me talk about builders. And for those who just reached this blueprint land creation, and I got two stations, basically the same name sometimes. It's Blueprint Land Creation Podcast and the Blueprint Land Creation Archives. That's two, slightly different. But right now, I'm here doing this particular one as a Blueprint Land Creation Podcast, doing this research here. And like I said, now when you look at it, when you look at how the walls, the sea walls here, the builders themselves, as I said, you always hear me refer to the builders, but the environment, the land has its own builders, has its own engineering team. All this here, what you see here, this is done by an engineer. Land has its own engineering team, building land. Like I said, for example, rocks do not grow. All these stones here, they did not grow. These stones did not grow, these were built. Now these here, as man-made concrete and everything that they build them. And they build them the same ingredients. They put cement and sand and different things in that to get them hardened, right? Now the builders are a similar formula too. When they're building their rocks and stones, they have the same principles. Dealing with sand, sand is very important. Sand is a very important ingredient in building land. And as you can see, poisons them will come, and they will always extract the sand from the sea. And that's a dangerous thing. When they extract the sand from the sea, they say we're doing infrastructure work, and you know, all these walls and everything that is happening, things are being broken down and building back up, and every so often people take down their buildings and so forth. But you need materials for that. You need sand for that. Now where you can find the sand for that? When they keep taking up all of the sand and building the things, yes, we need development. We need to go certain things. But once we take in sand too fast, we can create a problem. And as I said here, when before this was here, all the stones then was tossed on over at the far side. Now that is for a reason that the stones were tossed there on the far side. Because what? all this would have been the territory of the sea. But now what happened is they got these sea walls here. So now what happened is when the water comes up, tide comes, it splashes against here. Water may go over, and as when it dries up, it would more than likely come back in. But what happened is the dangerous thing is with that is because what they don't understand is that the builders them got their own engineering team. They would have built their own seawall. That's why you see land is normally built up higher than the water. Because the engineers them they build their own wall. They build their own seawall. Land gets higher. Like how all that soil there, all that soil. Now more than likely they may not do anything with that. They might just leave that there. But then additionally, that's not from the original soil found from the sea. That would normally more likely be washed away. Because what? That is not the original. And they may not even build with that. They might toss that and push that further out. And like I said, so when you look at it, the seawalls, what happens is they create a more environmental impact. Because what is gonna happen is that once tide gets high, and this water now comes back in, and this water sees that, hey, they put something here to stop me from doing what I need to do, my building formula, what I was building. Then what happened is, they call for hurricane, just like in war, like in war, when the enemy is someplace, they get latitude, longitude, then they say, look here, we need some strikes on this particular location. Then what happens is, heavy hurricane force, gale force winds come, hurricane force winds come with raging wind and move this. Because what happened is, some years ago they had some other big boulders on carpet that they had built in the same location here and further up to stop the sea from coming over from destroying the road. And what happened? The same thing as I said. Hurricanes came, and then waves them moved those big boulders of the way and tear out the rock, tear out all of the crocodiles, all of the curry that was in it. That because what? They did not build it. They brought it in they mined it and brought it in from someplace else inland. And the builders didn't want that. So the builders then started to tear out the road. And that is why now they put these seawalls here. But as I said, seawalls, as you see, a lot of people around the world are building seawalls to protect. But what seawalls also does, seawalls stop the natural building of the land. The land has its own engineering. We meet them here. And as I said, once you come to find out that you have a high hill. What happens is, when you got a high hill, what happens is now, developers come with their big tractors and they dredge and cut down all of the soil, like what they will do here, for example. They dredge all of the rocks, everything down, and then they go sell it someplace else. That's the sad part about it. They go sell it someplace else. So, like, subscribe, and share. Because I love to go and do the research here. This has been Blueprint Land Creation Podcast. As I say, we are university within. The knowledge them that we give is knowledge. We gives you knowledge that you got better understanding about your environment. And we have courses, ongoing courses at the bottom. You can write to the email at blueprintlandcreation@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, and share.